This young Kaya lady was arrested and sentenced to 10 years in prison for carrying items she did not know contained weed. This young lady on your screen is called Rose Gakpo. You see, the story of how Rose Gakpo was sentenced to 10 years in prison at the Nsawam Minimum Prison of Ghana dates back to about 9 years ago when it was first published on the YouTube page of Crime Check Foundation. You see, at that time, Rose Gakpo was a 27-year-old lady. The work she was doing in order to make a living was kayaye or kayayo. You know, porters, people who carry your things in the market and all those things for some amount of money. So Rose Gakpo was a kayaye lady. Now, living in the Volta region of Ghana, Rose Gakpo was the only child of her mother, and the mother at the time was very sick and was even admitted to the hospital. Rose Gakpo was the only person working to make sure that her mother's hospital bills and everything was paid for. So one day Rose Gakpo went to one particular place in order to attend a funeral. According to Rose Gakpo, while she was still at the funeral, one particular man contacted her saying that she was recommended by another person. You know, the man needed somebody to go to a particular location and then carry some goods for him. So Rose Gakpo's name was mentioned. He contacted Rose Gakpo and then told Rose Gakpo that I need you to go to Akachi and then carry certain things where you would send it back to Bakope. From Akachi to Bakope, how much am I going to pay? Now Rose Gakpo was like, I have not seen the items, so I can't charge you. But if I go and then see the items and then bring them back, I'll be able to charge you. I charge based on the weight and amount of the quantity I carry. The man was like, no problem. You go and carry the goods, bring them back, and I'll pay you. So Rose Gakpo was very glad because apparently she has gotten some work to do. Remember, she needed the money to pay for the mother's hospital bill. She needed the money to take care of herself because apparently life wasn't easy for Rose Gakpo. So Rose Gakpo went to Akachi, took all those goods. The goods were like sacks of certain things that Rose Gakpo did not know. She didn't know the quantity of the things, the content of the things she was carrying. All she could say was that the things were covered with clothes inside a sack, and in those sacks there were other things. That was after they caught her that she was able to see what was inside. But prior to she being arrested, she didn't know what was inside. All she knew was that the items were like 15 sacks of certain things she didn't know. Rose Gakpo carried them to the station. At the station, the driver's mate helped her to put them inside the vehicle and the journey started. So they were moving from Akachi to Bakope when they met a police checkpoint at somewhere known as Tove. You know, Volta region has quite a number of border towns, like towns that are borders with our neighboring countries. So over there are quite a number of custom or immigration checkpoints. So whilst they were moving, they went to certain location known as Tove, where there was a police checkpoint over there, custom checkpoint apparently. So the car in which Rose Gakpo was stopped. When the car was stopped, the police or the immigration officers started checking the car. Now they saw those particular items in the car's boot, and then they asked, whose items are this? Rose Gakpo said she's the one going with them. So the customer were like, we need to know what is inside, so do you mind if we look inside? You know, Rose Gakpo didn't know what was inside apparently, and she didn't expect that those things inside would be something illegal or something. So she was like, I don't mind, you can open and check. So when the custom officers opened inside, they found out that there were wraps of substances which were later identified as weed. So when this happened, immediately Rose Gakpo was arrested. Now while she was arrested, still at the place where they checked the items, the man who had sent her to go and bring the items called Rose Gakpo's phone, because Rose Gakpo has been telling them, these particular items are not for me. I am just a Kayayo girl. I was asked to go and bring them. So the man who sent me is calling me. Please pick and speak to the person. The police were like, no, we are not speaking to anybody. Can you imagine? They took the phone according to Rose Gakpo and then they switched off the phone. The lady said it's not hers. The owner is calling. Why don't you pick and listen? Now Rose Gakpo was like, you pick, then I tell the person I am at this location, you can follow me to where the person has asked me to meet, then you can arrest the owner. I am not the owner. I don't even know what is inside until now. I am innocent. However, they refused. They took Rose Gakpo straight to Aflao police station, and from the Aflao police station, Rose Gakpo's case wasn't even dealt with or investigated within Volta region. It was taken to Accra. They moved her to Accra. Over there at Accra, he was remanded at the Insawan prison and then arraigned before court. When they arraigned Rose Gakpo before court, Rose Gakpo was very poor. She had no money, so she couldn't even afford a lawyer. And state attorneys in this country don't usually, do their best for clients. They just do anything. Rose Gakpo apparently had to defend herself in the court. So she narrated whatever that was happening. Rose Gakpo, she did not know how to speak English. Even her Cree is not good. The language that she could speak better was Ewe. So at the court, Rose Gakpo was speaking Ewe, whilst there was like an interpreter interpreting whatever Rose Gakpo was saying to the judge. Rose Gakpo tried to explain the fact that she's just a Kayayu lady. Whatever they got on her did not belong to her. She was just a messenger who went to bring those items to the owner. So now they had to call the owner, and when the police was now calling the owner's phone was switched off. Why wouldn't the phone be switched off? Because if somebody has sent another person to go and bring weed, an illegal substance, if the person delays for like 24 hours or delays more than usual, and the owner is calling the one he sent and that person is not picking up, the owner will immediately sense trouble. Do you think the owner will later pick the call? The police didn't try on this case. In this case, the police didn't try at all. In fact, not just the police. You see the custom officers that intercepted her at the Tove checkpoint when the owner was calling and they refused to pick the call and they switched it off. They didn't do well. It was bad. That was very bad. So at the courts, she couldn't defend herself. Whatever she said, they didn't listen. So the judge finally sentenced Rose Gakpo to 10 years in prison. Yes, she was sentenced to 10 years in prison just because she was just trying to make a living. Rose Gakpo did not know that all those things she was carrying contained illegal substances such as weed. The owner had escaped and is living freely, whilst Rose Gakpo was sentenced to serve 10 years in prison. Rose Gakpo was very dejected. The mother, who was admitted to the hospital, depended solely on Rose Gakpo. Now Rose Gakpo was sent to prison. The mother had to be taken to the family somewhere to be taken care of. Rose Gakpo was very emotional during the interview with Crime Check Foundation. They appealed to the general public that anybody who has a way of helping Rose Gakpo should come forward and help her, because Rose Gakpo indicated that at the prison, whatever food she's eating doesn't sit well with her digestive system and she's suffering so much in the prison. Rose Gakpo's story is not an isolated one. There are several hundreds of people inside the prisons of Ghana whose stories are similar to Rose Gakpo. Most of them are in prison just because they don't have good lawyers, and most of them are also in prison just because the Ghana Police Service often fail to do better investigations on criminal cases. They just, when the person is not very wealthy to afford a very good lawyer and able to drag or deal with a case thoroughly, then they find that as an opportunity to do some shabby investigations and then push the person into prison. There are people in prisons that are not supposed to be there, and Ghana prison is choked. So in a country where our prisons are choked, shouldn't we be doing thorough investigations before adding more people to already choked prisons? Rose Gakpo's case is very heartbreaking, very, very heartbreaking. Anyways, please subscribe to our YouTube channel, Redwan ADS, for more stories such as this.